We are gathered here today to talk about the best books that I read in 2023. So I'm very happy to say that 2023 happened to just turn into the year of books. I feel like I have never read more in my life, and for once I actually branched out a little bit. I read some different genres, didn't stray too far from romance, but a little bit. I have so many books that I'm so excited to talk about, so let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with a bang, partially just because these are right on top. So back in October I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and thus started the obsession with Sarah J. Maas. If you have not read these books before, please do yourself a favor, go pick them up, because these are some of my absolute favorite books of all time, and I truly had no idea what I was missing before I started reading fantasy. This starts with Feyre, who is out hunting in the woods just below the border to the Fey lands, and she kills this wolf unknowing that it is actually a fairy. And in this world, because of treaties that happened in the past after a war, the rule is that if you take a life from one side of the border, you have to give a life from your side. And Feyre gets captured in the night by this beast that just storms into her family's cabin, and she is dragged off into the night over the border into the fairy realm. So obviously I can't speak too much on the books that follow in the series just because I don't want to spoil anything, but just know that it just keeps on getting better and better. That naturally segues into the next series of books that I read in 2023, and that is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. The first 5 or so books I read on my e-reader, so I actually have made little mini books to keep track of books that I read digitally. You are following the main character, Selena Sardothian, and she is a young assassin that is being contracted out to kill various people in this city called Ardalan. And there are so many insane plot twists and things that are revealed throughout even the first few books that it just keeps getting more and more extravagant and just fascinating to read about. This series also includes fae and magic and so much world building, but the whole series kind of has an overarching theme of like war and revival and rebirth of cities and courts that were just totally wiped out in the last war. This series is so good. I honestly, every time I read Sarah J. Maas's books, I have no idea how someone can be that creative. Like, the fact that someone can write like this is just utterly insane and so impressive to me. I also read Daisy Jones and the Six this year. This is a fictional 70s band, which was actually brought to life in a TV series, which is so well done. Please watch it if you read the book. It's incredible. There's lots of intra-band turmoil and romance, and it is so enjoyable to read, and I love the setting and just the themes in this book. These characters just feel so real. Okay, sticking with Taylor Jenkins Reid, I also read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book, I will always probably say, is just objectively one of the best books I've ever read because of the writing. It is just so intricate and well thought out and so cinematic to read. This book follows Monique Grant, who is a young reporter, and she is hired by Evelyn Hugo, who is this really well-known actress and public figure that has had a very scandalous, mysterious life. Now Monique is helping to write a kind of memoir or biography, kind of exposing everything that actually went down in Evelyn's life. Lots of old Hollywood glamour. It was just so good, and the plot twist at the end just... Moving on, I also read The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. It is basically this very kind of nostalgic book, even though I've never experienced what takes place in this book. It's definitely what I would describe as like a comfort read. This book takes place in Martha's Vineyard on this family's property, and basically you have a wedding going on. There's 2 families. They decide to play this game called Assassin. It's kind of like Manhunt / water guns, and basically every single person starts out with a target and you have to spray them with your water gun at an unexpected moment. and then after you take down your target, you acquire that person's target. So it's almost kind of like a very lighthearted Hunger Games kind of vibe, which was really fun to read about. And the main character Meredith forms an alliance with one of the groomsmen, so there's a little bit of romance in it. I'm gonna take one from this stack this time. This is a totally different kind of book from any other book in this video. Last year, I decided to start reading more books on feminism, so I picked up A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. This is like a feminist classic, but this book is essentially a series of essays written by Virginia Woolf all about her experiences that kind of explain why someone would believe in feminism and what it actually means, because there's definitely a lot of different opposing views when it comes to the topic of feminism. And specifically, she's talking about what it's like being a woman in the writing industry and just a working woman in general in the early 1900s. I highlighted and underlined so many different quotes in this book, and I think this is just something that everyone could read and really gain something from it. So my goal is definitely to read more books about feminism in 2024, and I'm also really curious to read books that are from different perspectives, because obviously this is a white woman's perspective. I also read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book is a childhood friends to lovers dual timeline. Oh my gosh, the most wholesome, adorable book. Definitely like a kind of coming of age theme. But this book follows Macy and Elliot, who meet when they're younger and bond over their love of books and reading, and they basically just get to watch each other grow up as they're growing up themselves, and they just have such a beautiful bond, and it was so enjoyable to read about. Macy and Elliot are simply the blueprint of the perfect romance couple. I also read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and this I feel like was a little bit different from Emily Henry's other books, which is why I really enjoyed it. There is a romance between Harriet and Wynne, but this book also just centers around friendship as a whole through kind of documenting this friend group's experience going from being friends when they were young adults and now they're full-grown adults, and what that means now that they all have a lot more complex lives. And I just think, just like any other Emily Henry book, the writing is just really beautiful, and I love the setting, like the summer beach house. Oh, so good. Hey, I also read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This is a fake dating romance, and this is definitely my favorite book by this author, but this is a romance between Elsie and Jack. Both of these characters are scientists, and they are kind of on opposing ends of their fields. So she is a theoretical physicist and he is a experimental physicist, so there's a little bit of like workplace conflict, workplace rivalry. It was really enjoyable. This year I also did a reread of Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is one of my favorite romances. Very low stakes, but just enjoyable. It's essentially cotton candy for your brain. This is a romance between the son of the President of the United States and the Prince of England. This is very sweet, very good. An honorable mention for the Avalon Bay series by Elle Kennedy. That one I really enjoyed. Is it the best writing? No, but if you're looking for a just good small town, little bit of a spicy romance, really good series. I'm so excited to see what books I read in 2024. My reading goal I've set to like 60 books. I think that is achievable, even though it actually kind of sounds insane as I'm saying it, but I'm really excited. Make sure to subscribe, follow my Instagram if you would like to see more content from me, and until next time, I will talk to you in my next video. Now to go put all of these books back on my shelf for the third time.